have with it. You know what you have with the guy that had all the money, that got the big contract, but you don't know what you got with this guy. And
Exactly.
that's what makes him so intriguing. He comes in and he looks as clean as as clean as they possibly can be. But then once you start getting into it and you start realizing, hey, maybe I was better off with the last guy I came into the room with.
Yeah, and then there's the Tom Brady did okay in that
Yeah,
role.
Tom Brady did
there's
pretty
a few
good.
guys in history who've done okay coming off the bench as not the day one starters.
Yeah.
All right, 520-848-1290 is the number to get on the program. We had a little bit of a technical snafu here while we were listening to the U of A coordinators. We apologize for that. We do have the stream, I believe, up and running, although, unfortunately, we don't have J-Dub's camera, it appears.
That's okay. Nobody's missing out on that. It's nothing to see here.
You've got me. You've got Dragon Ball. You're unfortunately seeing a white spot where J-Dub used to be. We'll see if we can maybe get his camera operating there at some point as we get back. And we'll get you the coordinators as well coming back in the next segment. We'll get you those guys. We were talking to Brennan Carroll and to Johnny Nansen as they were talking about their respective units. And obviously Brennan Carroll also handles the offensive linemen, and that's going to be another exciting part about this team coming into this year. And as Michael Wiley categorized Wendell Moe and Jordan Morgan and Jonas Avenaya as the walking first rounders, which I think might have been the best line that came out of training camp or fall camp this year. That's something we've never seen here in a long time, have not seen in a long time, for your Arizona Wildcats to have three guys that could potentially at some point be first-round picks on the offensive line. We've not had a high-taken lineman. I think you have to go back to Eben Britton. And he was on that first team. I was talking earlier about the first team that I covered here, Terrell Turner and some of those guys, Willie Tuitama, Mike Golding, or Robert Golden on defense. To some of those guys, Nate Ness. I mean, just the names that were on that defense of that first team that I covered here in 2008. The first bowl team for Mike Stoops after the years of struggle, and they were able to get to that Las Vegas Bowl, and just some good times and memories with those guys. You always remember your first team. It's like you guys, and J-Dub has these memories of teams when he was a kid. So J-Dub, we talked about obviously your basketball, but what's the first football team that kind of maybe you remember and resonated with you?
Man, honestly, I wasn't super into football at the same time I was basketball, but I mean, probably might have even been the leap at the leg type of thing. Like it might have even been early 90s, I think, is when I started getting super invested into U of A football. Before that, it was, Steve Kerr and those guys. But yeah, it probably wouldn't have been until I was in high school.
That's fair. That's fair. Do you have a team you remember in terms of football there?
In terms of football, the first team that I really remember was the Super Bowl team for the Steelers in 1995.
That's not what I'm asking
I know,
you.
but with college football, you're asking me something very specific.
The first game I remember watching was the
I don't want to hear about the Steelers.
1986 Super Bowl in which Refrigerator Perry scored a touchdown.
Yep, I mean, that's a good game. That's a good game to remember.
That's literally the first football memory I have.
All right. Okay, very good. Very good. All right. We're going to try to pick up the pieces here and get back to normal in our next segment, getting you home every 20 minutes on the fives with your traffic and your weather. Here's Cricket.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, this is your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together. New collisions reported Star Pass and Mission and Star Pass. Silver Bell and Twin Peaks and Silver Bell. Stalled vehicle, Valencia and Park Avenue and Valencia for a stalled vehicle. We do have an excessive heat advisory, heat warning in effect until 8 tonight with a 15% chance of rain, 81 overnight, 40% chance of monsoon action tomorrow, and a 106 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Want to save on new blinds?
2020 sports.
Well, Team USA finished their run in group play with a perfect record as now after they managed to go ahead and blow out Jordan. But it was one former U of A Wildcat that went ahead and put up the biggest fight against Team USA as Rondé Hollis-Jefferson went and showed out with a 20-point outing that could see him potentially get some looks for another run in the NBA.
And give it their best. And Hollis-Jefferson fouled as he puts it up from behind. Fortunately, he has the ball fall to Hollis-Jefferson. Hollis-Jefferson with a little turnaround. When you take Edwards off the court for the USA, as well as Bridges, especially, and you could even throw Hart in there. Well, you take those guys, those starters off as Hollis-Jefferson goes in and puts it in with the first team.
And again, now Jordan will get another chance to go ahead and play in the classification round. That starts up on Thursday. Anthony Edwards, the star for the Timberwolves and current member of Team USA, said it was good to catch up with Hollis-Jefferson, who served as his veteran during his rookie year in Minnesota in 2020. And congratulations from the U of A to Steve Walker, as the Arizona Beach volleyball head coach was given a contract extension that'll see him stay here in Tucson going through the 2026 season. Again, the beach volleyball team has continued to do a very, very stellar job there under Walker's guidance. He helped the team get to a 21-12 overall record just last season. Congratulations to him. And with the incident in Denver where two fans ran on the field at Braves outfielder Ronald Acuna Jr., and another incident at a White Sox game where a fan managed to hide a gun and bring it inside the stadium before it accidentally went off, Major League Baseball Players Association saying that they had begun to review the safety and security protocols of all stadiums, while Cub outfielder Ian Happ, who serves as a part of the union subcommittee, said that the Acuna incident was very scary because of how close those fans got before security eventually got a hold of them. That's your 2020 Sports Update. We'll have more for you in the next 20 here on Wildcats Radio 1290.
And now back to more DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
Anthony Edwards, he can play basketball. He was a great wingman in Top Gun. Goose.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Will Jaden Delore in 2023 become just the second player in Arizona Wildcats football history to throw for over 4,000 yards? I'm U of A checks in on Twitter. He's going to have to. Some high-octane offenses on the schedule. You ain't lying. I'm U of A. There are some big-time offenses on this schedule. All right, let's see if we can get back to what we were talking about in the last segment. The coordinators. We'll pick it up with your defensive coordinator, Johnny Nansen.
Adding size in the offseason, how do you make sure that's not just adding size for the sake of size? And is this something that fans who go to the game on Saturday are going to immediately see when the team's on?
You're just talking about the size of our defensive players?
Very talented, just the fact we weren't big enough last year.
Yeah, I think that's what you're going to see. You're going to see two nose guards that are 320-plus pounds. You're going to see three techniques that are 300 pounds. We didn't have that many body mass, last year to give us the opportunity to play the run better. So that's what you're going to see. Linebackers that are a little bit bigger. Safeties are, Genesis are big safeties. Our corners are big. So, college football is heading that way.
Jed said Jordan Morgan is good to go. Do you anticipate him being able to play the whole game?
Yeah, he'll be ready to play the whole game.
If you need a backup for that, who's the guy that would be
the next tackle would be Joe Borjan. He's done a fantastic job, all really from spring to fall. Big old guy that Johnny found for me. No, he's been fantastic. He's done a great job. He came in as a little lacked some conditioning, would you say? But he's done a fantastic job. He's as strong as he's ever been.
And is Polito set to be the right guard?
Yeah.
How's that worked?
It's been great. Wendell, who's starting over the left side, he came in at the same time. He needed to get in a little bit of shape last year to get him ready to go. Ray came in great shape, ready to go, ready to learn the system. And, if we hadn't have done this last year, maybe we'd have a little bit of anxiety about playing a young guy. But, it's just kind of how we do it right now. So.
Michael Wiley categorized Jonah, Jordan, and Wendell as walking first-round picks. As a guy that worked in the NFL, what categorizes them to be able to be put in such a conversation?
There's a talent level there for sure. Those guys can move around like crazy, but really the hard part is we talk about this is about being a professional and being able to not just handle the on-the-field things, but be able to handle yourself off the field. And those guys have done fantastic. And you take a look at Jordan and his rehab and what he's had to do to get back in this kind of really 9-month frame. He's done his rehab as well as I've ever seen it. Just in terms of staying on track, for a big guy in ACL, it's tough to get back, and he did a fantastic job with it. So those guys have all carried themselves properly. Jonah's a fantastic leader, and he's been there since he's really got there. Got there last spring, I guess it was. So we're just excited about these guys, and it'll be fun to see them out there running around a little bit.
And I know you become a co-captain so soon.
I think he's an unbelievable kid, man. He brings passion, and everybody feeds off of him. I think he has earned the team's respect this summer. He was always out there, coming in early, stay late, and I think the team is really, responding really well to him. And then obviously he's playing on all special teams. If you look at our scrimmage, he never came off all phase, 4 phases of special team and defense. So it's just a lot about a kid like Irby.
No.
With the linebacker battle with Daniel and Justin?
Everybody's going to play. I mean, right now, Daniel and Manu. You're going to see Justin's in there. You're going to see, Tay Brown. You're going to see, Kamo in there. So there's situations that those guys are going to play.
Brandon, I know we've talking about years past with the offensive line, but just seeing the transformation from year one to this season, can you just talk a little bit about the groundwork that you guys have been able to do?
Yeah, we've kind of built it, from both ways. A couple kids that were here in the program and have been through the tough times, Baker and Jordan, obviously, and then bringing some, new talent, new blood, to kind of meld those two groups together and really, combine, the old with the new, and they've been great leaders, been great kids. It's really, we're lucky to have, we got great kids. They'll do whatever we ask them on really both sides of the ball. Just great kids, great team. You talk about Irby, we can fill him on offense. I think we've done a really good job, as the players have done a good job, of, not just being in their little cliques and becoming great teammates and, cross-pollinating a little bit and getting to know each other and love each other. And hopefully we see it on the field Saturday.
Coach, Brendan Ford, Coach Nansen, has anybody mentioned the NAU loss 2 years ago inside the room? Obviously, Jay was asked about it yesterday. 80% of the team probably wasn't here. Has you heard it mentioned at all once in the last few days?
I don't know. Johnny wasn't here, so he didn't have to deal with it. But it's 2022 we talked about. We're not talking about 2021, so we're not going to talk about it in 2023. It really hasn't been a mention. No one's talked of this. We know what we're going up against. This is a good football team, and they're going to bring their best stuff, and, they got a lot to prove too. So our guys are prepared. There'll be no letdown. We're ready to rock.
How do you personally reflect on that night?
Nope. I'll give you something. It was a very difficult night to be a part of, be on that staff. But it really showed, how far we had to go, and, that we weren't really ready to win yet. We weren't ready, to be a good football team, and it took a while. It's going to take a process. It's not, something you can snap your fingers and fix. And looking back on that and to see how far we've come, there's a little bit of, there's a little bit of hope. So.
For either of you or both, what do you tell the guys who get designated to the scout team who've been fighting for spots all summer long so that they don't view it as some sort of a demotion or a negative?
No doubt. Jacob Manu and Wendell Moy, those two guys started on the scout team, and they wound up starting games for us and being crucial elements to our team. And they could be that story. These guys have, Jacob Manu came in, undersized, kind of, just part of the program, and he wound up being a star for us last year. Wendell's, gone from a guy no one recruited, no one heard of, and now he was on the scout team, and Johnny called down and say, get him off scout team. And I'm like, cool, you could have Manu back. Like, we're just sick of hitting those guys hitting us. And so that's the goal, is go down there, work your craft, work your technique. We try to cross over, I think, as much as we can in terms of scheme, so they're still able to learn somewhat and use the techniques that we've taught them as much as we can. There's a couple looks when you can't do that, but so that they can keep developing and keep growing. So they're great examples.
games this past weekend to see how the new clock rules might affect what you're trying to do as far as getting players in and out of the field?
Yeah, we talked about it, with a lot of these teams now, not even us, we're going up tempo, so we got to be able to control it with substitution and all that. So that's what we've been, really looking into.
Is it a matter of when a guy comes off the field that he gets his quick water or whatever, but then has to be right next to you?
It all depends. If they sub, we want to sub. So we got to, coordinate how we're going to sub. A lot of, back in the days, when they sub, we try to sub 4 guys. Well, we got to be smart with it, and take our time getting on the field so we can get our guys off the field.
If they don't sub, what are the other situations in which you can sub defensively? Is it dependent on where the ball is
Dead ball, right? When the ball, the incomplete pass, they allow you to sub then, right? But if they don't, they're going fast. There's nothing we could do. We just got to give them a call and let them play. And that's the beauty of our system here. Our Sandstorm is designed to be that way. There might be an opportunity where there's going to be 8-play drive, where you can't come out. So our guys are trained, for those situations if that happens.
Johnny, you mentioned about Justin Flo kind of playing in the system, controlled in the system. How do you think he developed that throughout training camp, and where is he right now?
He's been great. He's been great right now. Him and Daniel are sharing time with the ones. I think you're going to see the same thing Saturday. To answer your question, that's what you're going to see.
Johnny, when you say in the essence of the Sandstorm, your guys are trained, is that in terms of their wellness to be able to last that many plays, or is it just a scheme thing?
No. To be able to last those 8 plays and be able to focus and still, execute their assignment when it's, in a situation where you're going 8 plays. I'm going to tell you now, I've been in that situation as a player. It is hard, so unless you practice, whether you're ones-on-ones and twos-on-twos, you're not going to get that, from our scout team. So that's why it's so awesome what we do here with Jed, and he's done a great job preparing us for all these situations with our guys. So that's the whole focus on the drill.
Johnny, you guys were able to force 6 more turnovers in the 2021 team. How do you keep improving on making sure that you get the ball back and put your offense in advantageous positions?
Every day we talk about it. Our program is the ball, drills, and plays are designed to go after the football. So our guys are clicked that way. Their mind is that way, So every day in meetings we're going to show turnovers, how to go about creating turnovers or takeaways. So that's just part of our program.
All right, those are your coordinators, Johnny Nansen and Brennan Carroll. And again, we were kind of talking about what he said there kind of at the end with the defense and how they're training this defense because these new rules are going to be in place, and we'll get into the new rules later in the week, where they're trying to speed up these games. And even if you get a team that plays fast, that's not going to huddle, you've got defenders that may have to stay on the play for a long stretch of plays. Like he mentioned, 8 to 10 plays. And they're training their guys on how to be able to handle that. And I think it goes back to, I'll go back to that daytime scrimmage a couple of Saturdays ago. And I thought that this is a team that's in shape because it was hot that day. It was hot that Saturday down on the turf. And I didn't see any guys gassing. I didn't see any guys doubled over. I didn't see any guys cramping up. And that kind of told me that, hey, this and everybody, and I think the other thing on that is everybody got through this camp healthy. For the most part, they've not had any significant injuries come out of this training camp as they head into this week 1. This is a football team that is in really good shape. And it's going to be fun to kind of see how that translates on Saturdays.
I'm surprised, DK, that you didn't touch on the name.
The name. Oh, Sandstorm. Love it. Darude. All right, we'll talk more about Arizona football with David Adams coming up the next hour. This is DK on the Sports Tip. You're listening to Wildcats Radio.
Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together. New wrecks reported I-10 near Houghton on westbound I-10 approaching Houghton, Kolb Road south of Golf Links, Star Pass in Mission, and also Silver Bell in Twin Peaks. Near TMC, Grant Road and Craycroft, a wreck there, and backups at the intersection of Grant Road and Craycroft. And also vehicle fire reported at Irvington and Benson Highway. There is an excessive heat warning until 8 tonight, a 15% chance of rain today and 81 overnight, 40% chance of monsoon action tomorrow, and 106 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
Well, the smoke cleared from yesterday's 53-man roster cut deadline around the NFL. We know what Wildcats did make the 53-man roster for a lot of teams. One of those being Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles for the 49ers. Gary Brightwell will go ahead and stay in the running back room for the Giants. Tony Fields will be playing linebacker for the Cleveland Browns, with kicker Nick Folk once again getting onto an NFL team, but not with the Patriots, as he was traded to the Titans pending his physical. He will be the Titans starting kicker. And now around the league, we're still trying to get in all the information for practice squads around the league. We do have a couple of updates. Jalen Harris will be with the Bears practice squad, and both Lorenzo Burns and Lucas Haversick will be getting practice squad spots with the Browns. Absolute heartbreak, though, for Giants pitcher Alex Cobb. He came up just one hit short against the Reds for a no-hitter. Cincinnati Reds second baseman Spencer Steer managed to go ahead and put an end to that with a hit in the ninth inning.
Steer's not looking for fastballs.
Get out to right center field, and a base hit. So Spencer Steer spoils the party. And these Giants fans are going to give Cobb a standing ovation, as they should.
And the other part to that that's kind of upsetting is that also broke up his shutout, as he ends up just getting the win in a complete game as he strikes out Elly De La Cruz with the next at-bat. And the Colts and Dolphins continue to have discussions about a possible trade, and Colts GM is really not 100% happy having to have these conversations. He said, quote, "The situation sucks for the team and player and fans as Jonathan Taylor continues to go ahead and be discussion of trade talks. But again, he will not be able to go ahead and be on the market anytime soon, as the team put him on the PUP, meaning that he will be out for the first 4 games of the regular season, and his next trade deadline will be October the 31st. That's your 2020 sports update. We'll be back with another 20 here on Wildcats Radio 1290.
Live from the CNWT.
Wait, what's the CNWT?
Central Northwest Tucson, duh.
It's DK on the Sports Tip with your host, David Kelly.
Radio. Just when I thought I was out, they drug me back in.
Featuring J.W. Madden.
Don't tell me about flip-flops, man. I'm a native.
David Amata.
Hey, that's Dragon Ball to you.
And Cricket, getting you home with traffic and weather.
Camp on Melt Lemon, not in the left lane on the freeway.
Here we go! And now, a man who has not one, but 3 first names, David Scott Kelly.
Oh, I just had to laugh because as you know, folks, we are streaming for the first time this week. We had not been streaming, I believe, probably since, when's the last time we streamed a show regularly, J-Dub? Probably last November or so?
Well, the problem is David Amata is so popular in Tucson that when he and I were doing the show alone, we couldn't stream because then we would have big trouble that way. So probably before that. Yeah, maybe last year even.
But I was laughing because obviously right now we've got, right now, if you're watching us on the stream, J-Dub's camera's down. So, I can't really fix this right now because I'd have to shut the system all down again and then restart the streams. And then you would have a third. The way these streams work is like, every time you have to restart it, it creates another file. So then you've got like 3 stream files on Facebook if the stream happens to go down. And that just gets like crazy weird when you have all these different file streams. So I'm trying to avoid shutting the system down again until after the show. So right now, you just see this white box where J-Dub is supposed to be.
To be fair, though, I mean, the last time I got anything that would qualify as a suntan would have been decades ago. So that's not too far away from the reality.
So, and again, bear with me because I'm the cameraman here. I'm the talk show host. I'm the cameraman. I kind of, why don't we, like right now, we have a few minutes. David Adams is going to join us at 5:20. Let's walk the people through some of the stuff we have here. Okay, so this is what we call the 1-2-5 shot here because I'm on camera 1, Dragon Ball is 2. And then the 5 shot is J-Dub, who's in the production booth there in master control, we like to call it. So we got 1-2-5. Then we got 1-3-5. As you can see, that's where David Adams will be sitting here shortly. Cricket sits there. That's camera 3. So that's the 1-3-5 shot. And we got the 1-2-3 shot, which is me, Dragon Ball, and then either Cricket or the guest that'll be in that shot. Then we've got the 1-2-3-5 shot, which is all 4 of us. So that, as again, you've got Mr. White Box there. That would be J-Dub. and then Chris, so you can't see that. Then we've got the all 5 shot here, which is and looks like camera 5 is also down right now. So that's another white box
No,
shot
it looks like
right
it might
there.
be. I can see the blue light on, but it might just be that the front is closed for that one.
Oh, no, I think it's off. I'm pretty sure that, because I think even if it was closed, I think we would still it would be black.
Yeah, if we
Yeah,
close
see,
the lid,
because
it's like
Dragon
that.
Ball,
Gotcha.
Dragon Ball just closed his, and it just went to black.
I'm seeing a blue light there. I don't see a blue light here in front of me, so I think that one's activated, but it's not connected for that that 5th shot.
See, well, and then you just mentioned the light. So you have we have red lights, but you have what's the blue light?
The one I'm looking at right in front of me, which is this 5th seat in front of you.
Okay.
Yeah, that camera right there in front of you is a blue light on.
I see what you mean. You're talking about the camera. I see.
The
blue
camera light
on the camera. Okay, I'm thinking of these red things that signify that our mics are on. Okay, so that's what I was thinking. So that's the one. That's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shot right there. Then we've got the 1-3 shot, which is just me and the guest or Cricket. Then we've got the 1-5 shot, which is just me and J-Dub. Then we can go solo. Like, I can go solo here. Then there's Dragon Ball. Hey, everybody. And then there's Cricket. And then there's the empty chair. And then there's the black screen. And now it's black on J-Dub. So I don't know what happened there on that particular shot. Then we've got a series of interview shots we can do. It's like me, if we've got an interview, like you saw Eric Waddell right there, I can put pictures in there and then the person's name. If it's a tape, sometimes we tape our interviews. Like we did with Cameron Cox, you're seeing his picture right there. So it would be me in a static shot and then the interview person in a static shot. We also have a blank screen here, which is generally this is like for if I wanted to just go, if I was doing an interview and I just wanted to take myself off screen during the interview, I could go to this shot as kind of a shot of the person we're talking to. So we've got a couple of different shots for Cricket and her traffic. There's a lot of things we can do with this fancy, funky system here known for streaming. So we're having a lot of fun with it when it works, but bear with us as we kind of get through that.
I'm having a great time.
I bet you are, J-Dub, because nobody can see you right now. You could be standing and doing cartwheels in there right now, and nobody would know the better because they can't see.
I am right now doing cartwheels. Don't you see them?
I bet you are. Let's get you up to date on what's happening with your Arizona Diamondbacks.
Baseball stuff!
All right. Well, I think we're finding out just how good or just how much better than we are. And I say we are the Diamondbacks that are finding out how much the Los Angeles Dodgers are better than they are this week. You threw your best 2 pitchers out there, Dragon Ball, and you got creamed in both games.
And did it very early on in those games as well. I mean, again, I want to give credit to Zach Gallen. He survived going into the 6th inning. Merrill Kelly did not get to the 6th, and that was the same inning, though, that both of those games kind of went and got well out of reach for the Diamondbacks to have a chance to go ahead and claw themselves back in. That being said, it wasn't a close game in the 6th either for the Diamondbacks in the second game. I think it was 1-6 going into that inning before Mookie Betts hit his.
Most of us like to say 6-1, but that's okay.
Oh, I mean, we're looking at our side versus their side, away the home, but either way, you were still down by 5 runs going into that inning, and then that's when the floodgates opened again, and the Dodgers made sure that there would be no comeback opportunity in this particular contest.
It's only $192 million difference in the payroll total, Steve.
Oh,
between
100. What?
Looks to me, I'm looking at right here. It says 88 payroll totals is 137 for the Diamondbacks, and the Dodgers are at 288. So a little bit more.
That's a lot. That's a lot more than I would have thought.
No, I think the running joke is that the Dodgers have what they would describe as a small island country's GDP worth of a salary cap in regards to how they spend versus everyone else.
$280,387,727 to be specific.
Wow, that's nuts. Well, as Dragon Ball said, it started badly in the first, and there's that guy, Jason Hayward. He just keeps hanging around.
The 0-2. Line drive, base hit into center field. Hayward delivers again. Muncy comes in to score. Right behind him is Peralta. Sliding into second base is Jason Hayward, and the Dodgers have a 3-0 lead.
And like Dragon Ball said, this game was way out of hand when we got to the 6th inning and Mookie came up to do his thing.
And on the first pitch, he cranks one to left field and out of here. That's 36th home run of the season. The National League Player of the Week is working on 2 weeks in a row. Oh.
Charlie Steiner on the Los Angeles Dodgers radio network. Corbin Carroll did hit a home run in this ball game for the Diamondbacks, and I saw a stat, and I don't know if you saw this, Dragon Ball. I was looking for it real quick here, and of course I can't find it. But apparently he is now in a class with Chris Young. Did you see the Chris Young stat that they posted yesterday? I thought they posted that on the Diamondbacks page. He is, in fact, I will tell you this one. He's the second player in D-backs history and the 4th rookie in MLB history to hit 20 home runs and steal 40 bases. I'll have to see if I can find that other stat that they were saying in terms of his rookie career and how it relates to the Diamondbacks. It was a pretty good one. But anyway, the Diamondbacks lose last night by a score of 9-1 to the Dodgers, and so they're not going to win this division. That's a pretty much of a foregone conclusion. But still in the wild card race are your Snakes, and right now that wild card race stands for Arizona, and they're they're tied with the Giants. So the Giants have now won the Giants lost last night as well. So the Giants and the Diamondbacks are tied at 69 and 64, both 2 games behind the Cubs and 5 games behind the Phillies, and a game in front of the Cincinnati Reds. That's where we stand going into tonight's game. It'll be a 7-10 first pitch at Dodger Stadium to close out this series as the Snakes will try to avoid getting swept. Why do people keep calling me? Oh, I think that's David Adams there. So I'll hand that over to you, Dragon Ball, and we'll welcome in the 4th member of our team, Cricket. I see the skies are starting to get a little ugly out there. What could potentially be on the horizon? Which is actually not a bad thing because we haven't had any rain in a few days, and it's gotten hot again.
It's so hot. Potentially 60-mile-per-hour gusts, and I believe it's quarter-sized hail, possibly.
Wow.
In this storm.
Wow. So this could be a nasty one.
A big
and
one.
We've had some nasty ones. It caused havoc in my condo complex. Literally the condos across the way, directly across the way from us. That first big storm that came through, it knocked I guess there's and I don't know, I've never been up on the roof, but I guess there's drainage on the roof that takes the water down, and it knocked off one of those. The winds were so high, it knocked off one of the drainage pipes. So the water had nowhere to go. It stayed on the roof. It went down through one of the apartments. Then it seeped down into the apartment below that. Oh. And yeah, it's just 2 apartments that basically have to be totally redone.
Oh, ouch.
2 condos in our complex have to be totally redone.
And didn't you work without power for a while?
Yeah, that was the night. Yeah, that was the night we were out without power for 6 hours.
Oh.
So yeah, this has been a is it global warming? Cricket, do you think?
No.
Cricket knows all about that kind of stuff.
We've got hurricanes on the West Coast. Come on now, that never happens. So all of a sudden we're starting to get that. I don't know. It's something.
Yeah, you don't have to be a meteorologist to when you hear 87 years first tropical depression to be able to hit LA.
Yeah, right.
In 87 years,
yeah.
So that's something.
Exactly. See, the Wildcats lose to NAU for the first time in 90 years, and we get hurricanes on the West Coast for the first time in 87 years. The world is a changing, but one thing that doesn't change is the lady that gets you home every 20 minutes on the fives with your traffic and weather. Her name is Cricket.
And from the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather together. Pretty bad crash occurred at Grant and Craycroft. It's involving 3 vehicles and 2 overturned vehicles, Craycroft and Grant. Heavy travel restrictions, backups at that intersection. Another rollover wreck occurred at Silverbell and Twin Peaks. Also reported westbound I-10 approaching Houghton. 6th Avenue and Benson Highway was a pedestrian struck. Prince and Flowing Wells, 1st Avenue and Prince, Campbell and Irvington also clearing. And we do have that severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 5:30 for East Central Pima County, like we mentioned. Possible 60-mile-per-hour gusts and maybe hail. 100 now, and I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather together.
Babbel.com.
Attorney Joe Cordell.
Business owners and professionals face special challenges in divorce court. In addition to everything else going on, they have to contend with allegations that they are earning more than they
Goes back to we're going to try to do what's best we can for the team always. And, I think the main thing to note of that is pieces get shuffled around, pieces move, who's up on game day. And it's not just the 53, it's the practice squad. It's, how many guys are going to get a jersey on Washington, the roles that they serve. There's a lot of things that go into that, and our guys know that. That's always kind of a moving part deal. And we're always trying to put the best guys out there to give us a chance to win.
One of the positions of focus was at center, as the Cardinals claimed 2 at that position. Tristan Colon Castillo comes from the Jets, and Keith Ismail from the 49ers both joined the Cardinals after they got cut by their previous teams. And one of the top 10 battles in college football that will start up this week will sadly not have one of their star players, as LSU will not have star running back John Emery, according to head coach Brian Kelly. There was no reason given for Emery's absence, but Emery has been struggling with his academic issues over the past 2 seasons, rather. Kelly had hinted that Emery was in the process of being cleared in camp, but will now miss the opener against Florida State. And referee Eric Lewis will be retiring amid his NBA investigation, where Lewis was discovered to have a burner account on his social media pages where he was defending referees' integrity across the league. Again, Lewis was apparently called out by some people on Twitter for not calling a foul against LeBron James during a Celtics and Lakers spat. And the NBA eventually figured out that he had this burner account after fans went after him online. Now Lewis will go ahead and retire after a 19-year veteran career as an NBA official. That's your 2020 Sports Update. We'll have more for you in another 20 on Wildcats Radio 1290.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
All right, I found that stat I was looking for with Corbin Carroll when he hit his 23rd home run last night. So he is now 9 behind Chris Young. So Chris Young had the rookie record for the Diamondbacks, 32. So basically about a month left. I don't know. I think Chris Young's record is probably safe. I don't know that Corbin Carroll gets to 30 home runs this year. If he did, boy, that's going to be a tremendous rookie season for him. All right, joining us in studio, one of the outstanding running backs in the history of Arizona football. His name is David Adams, Sweet D, a Sunnyside High School graduate, football class of 1986 at the U of A. David, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm happy to be here with you, David.
Well, we appreciate you stopping by and joining us here. And it was interesting. We heard from Jonathan Gannon. We'll start with this. We'll start NFL talk because you got into an NFL camp, obviously coming out of the University of Arizona. We've been talking about the Turk the last few days and what that's like for guys that have played football all their lives. And it's a very small percentage of people that can play at a high level in high school, and even smaller percentage of people who can get into any type of college and play football, whether it's junior college or Division I. And it's even a smaller number of people who can get into an NFL camp and have a shot at making, the 53-man roster. You were one of those guys that got to that doorstep. What was that? First of all, what was that NFL training camp experience like for you? And then walk us through the feelings you went through that day they said, Coach wants to see you, bring your playbook.
Well, first of all, I want to give you the numbers because I do happen to have them. It's 7% of high school athletes get a chance to play college sports.
Wow.
Whatever it is, junior college, D1, whatever. And 2% get a chance to play after college. So those are just letting you know that the odds are against everybody. not just the imperfect athlete like myself by not being tall. It was a strange day for me because I was drafted by Indianapolis. We had 4 running backs, 2 got hurt, so it was me and the starter. So I'm coming to the facility like, hey, they can't. It just doesn't. The numbers don't work because even though we're in a 1-back set, you need at least 3 backs, and 2 of ours were hurt. So I went in there fully confident. I had played well. I had led the team in rushing, yards per carry, and total yards during the preseason. So I was like, there's just no way. And then as I walked into the facilities, the head coach, Ron Meyer, came up and started hugging me, talking about it was the numbers. It was the numbers. It's not that you can't play. It was the numbers. And I didn't know what the hell he was talking about. I'm like, well, what are you, why are you hugging me? What are you talking about? But we had to let you go last night. And I was like, wow, that was the last thing that I thought because I did play well. And I just couldn't see with the numbers being on my side from the running back thing. We had 4 and 2 were hurt, and you got to have 3. And so I felt very confident. Then I was released and picked up by Dallas, played the season there, which didn't play much, but, they didn't have practice rosters in. You just were on the team. I didn't play much. And then after that, I got picked up by the Rams. Again, didn't play much, but I was collecting a check, so it wasn't as miserable as being released. And then I ended up in Canada for a couple of years, but it's very frustrating because a lot of times it's way beyond your control, meaning you can play well, but we need another linebacker. We got to carry 5 linebackers, and instead of 4 backs, we're only going to carry 3 backs. Doesn't mean you didn't play. It's just those type of numbers that you have totally no control over. That is extremely frustrating. We needed another wide receiver, and we're just going to carry 2 running backs, and we needed 6 wide receivers because the wide receivers can do this. And that's the frustrating part. When it wasn't your play, it was the fact that we needed some other people at other position to fill out the 53-man roster. It's very frustrating.
David Adams, U of A football class of 1986, is our guest. You mentioned, obviously, that you weren't the tallest guy.
Right.
Yeah. So how did you, when did you realize that was, obviously there were disadvantages to that for you, but that you could still play at a high level to at least overcome them enough to, like you said, even get into that 7% that can play at a collegiate level?
I had all the skills of a football player. I just wasn't tall. So no big deal to me, but unfortunately no head coach at a D1 university says, you know what, if we could just get a 5'6" running back, maybe 170 pounds, he could take us to the promised land. We didn't have anybody say that, but Coach Smith said, I think he can do it, and the coaching staff, I think there was 10 coaches, and all of them said, no, don't give me a scholarship. Coach Smith told him to go to hell and give me a scholarship. And it was because also David Fulcher said no to U of A. He was going to go to ASU. So that's what made a scholarship available for me, too. And I was on David Fulcher's show the other day, and I told him the story, and I said, and that's why we beat you 5 times in a row.
The streak.
Yes. So it was interesting and fun at the same time because it's just like life. Nobody is a perfect anything. You got some kind of issues in something, but you got to make up those deficiencies in other ways. Just because you grew up poor don't mean that you got to have a poor mindset. And for me, I could do everything. I was stronger than everybody, faster than everybody, jump higher than everybody. So what's the deal? Just give me the ball. Don't worry about can I block. Just give me the ball, and then we don't have to worry about me blocking. That was my philosophy.
Just give me the ball. Don't worry about me blocking. That is awesome.
Right. It's not that I was afraid to block. It's just 175 against 250. It's going to be a collision, and then the weight is going to just win. So because you just can't cut somebody all day and night because they'll eventually, after the second time, they figure it out, and you put the offense in a bad situation.
When you look at this running back room that Scotty Graham has, I mean, I've been here since 2008. I don't know that there's been as an impressive collection of guys that have different varying skill sets and who can all come into the game and give you something positive. You've been here a lot longer than me. Have you seen a collection as good as this here?
Not as a group, but I've seen some individuals that were very good.
Yeah.
And they made you not have to, they could play all 4 downs. Well, 3 downs. But this group, from what I see and what I'm watching, is I don't see anybody as the alpha male in the situation. There's some that are better than others, but because they change in and out so much, they never get the rhythm of the game to really display all of their skills. And I know, well, we see him in practice. He can't block in practice. He's not going to be able to block in the game, or he can't catch it in practice. He's not going to be able to catch it in the game. Yeah, that's true. You do play like the way you practice, but the one thing that changes from game to practice is your level of focus. Sometimes you just need that level of focus to show that you can really catch the ball in game time conditions, or whatever your supposed deficiency is.
What's the most amount of carries you ever had in a game in college?
31.
31.
Right. And the amazing thing about that, I was just talking about this the other day. When the game was over, I was like, why in the hell didn't they give me the ball? I don't understand this. And I was like, because I felt good and we won the game, and I'm like, man, this is messed up. I didn't even get the ball. And then I looked at the stat sheet. He said 31 for 190, and I was like, okay, well, maybe I did get the ball enough, but I could have used it a little bit more. So, and then the next day, it told me that I had 31 carries.
Wow. We don't see that a lot. I think you have to go back to Kadeem being the last back that got it like that here. Now it seems to be more in that 15 to 18 range is about the most carries. Is it tough for a running back to, and like you mentioned, the detriment to the fact that you've got so many guys that you can plug and play in there, whether it's Speedy Luke or Michael Wiley or DJ Williams or Jonah Coleman, is that it's hard to get a guy with a rhythm. Is that a detriment at all to this team that they don't have that one guy, or we just not, or is the game changed to the point where you don't need that one guy anymore?
Well, if you have him, Derrick Henry, then you use him. But nobody, to me, it doesn't seem like nobody wants to be the man. They want to be one of the guys. And they don't have a problem with, splitting carries and things like that. I had a problem with that.
You wouldn't like this system.
No,
you wouldn't like
my thing is that if I'm the man, you wait till something happens to me.
Right.
I used to tell my backups, I said, don't worry, man, you can come in when I get tired. I never get tired.
Yeah.
Because I train on the off season for the season. So I just think that, it's a mindset, because back in the day, O.J. never came off the field. Walter Payton never came off the field. Barry Sanders rarely came off the field, because that's what they wanted. They didn't want the running back by committee thing. They wanted one running back to carry the load, and then they started going to a third down back because he was a better receiver or more elusive in the open field. But I think back in the day that you really had to have the mental capacity to want the ball all the time, and that was the way the game was played. You didn't play. There's so many people coming out of tapping their helmets and raising their hands nowadays. I just don't understand how you can play like that. Because I used to be upset when they used to take me out. I didn't necessarily show it, but you could, if you knew me well enough, you would know, oh, hey, he's pissed off, he's coming out. And especially if it was a specialty situation, meaning like I happened to be the best short yardage runner we had, and I was 178. And because I took short yardage and goal line extremely personally, because the defense is saying there's just no damn way in hell no, stop. there's no way you're going to score. So the challenge of that was just paramount to me. So it was very interesting.
All right, we're going to have more with David Adams coming up, but we got to make sure we get you home every 20 minutes on the fives with your traffic and your weather. Here's Cricket.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together. With reported collisions that are clearing Grant and Craycroft, that was an earlier multi-vehicle collision. 2 of the vehicles overturned at Craycroft and Grant. Please avoid that intersection. Silverville and Twin Peaks, that was another reported rollover wreck. And clearing stages westbound I-10 approaching Houghton. 6th Avenue and Benson Highway, a pedestrian struck. Silver Lake and Park Avenue. First and Prince clearing, also collision at Prince and Flowing Wells with westbound restrictions. There is a flash flood warning in effect for eastern Pima County until 8:15 tonight. There is a 40% chance of rain tomorrow and about 102 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together.
This report is sponsored by Bank of America. Bank of America has powerful digital solutions for local and global businesses, so you can make every move matter. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. Bank of America N.A. Copyright 2023.
There's only one place in Tucson where you can find unbeatable excitement, thrilling prizes, and next level fun.
Oh, where's that?
I think you know.
Desert Diamond Casinos.
And this September and October, the sizzling hot action is nonstop.
Tell me more.
First up, it's Rolling Up Riches every Thursday at Tucson, and you can win up to $5,000 cash each week.
I'll roll in for that.
Then on Fridays at Saurita, score a share of $70,000 in prizes with football fortunes. Lucky players every hour win up to $1,500 cash.
Sounds like a ball.
You bet. Plus, there's live entertainment, food and drink specials, Arizona's favorite sports book, the hottest slots and table games, and more. It's all at Desert Diamond Casinos.
That's true, Tucson.
An enterprise of the Thana Autumn Nation.
See Rewards Center for details.
Wendy's new breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie bundles let you create your own delicious combo. Choose from a sausage biscuit, egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, and a medium hot coffee. But it's obvious which combo's the best. Sausage biscuit and small seasoned potatoes. Well, maybe it's the fresh cracked egg and cheese biscuit with a medium
2020 Sports.
So it was a bad game for Merrill Kelly in their last outing against the Dodgers for the Diamondbacks, as Kelly struggled after he got pulled in the 6th inning. And that was where Mookie Betts has continued his career year at the plate as he sent this one out to put the game out of reach.
And who's leading off? Well, Mookie Betts. Mookie tonight, 1 for 2, a walk and a run scored.
That ball is absolutely drilled. Mookie Betts pounds one way gone. And it is with some extra thunder that he reaches a new career high. 36 home runs, Mookie Betts.
And the loss now puts the Diamondbacks a half game behind the Giants for the wild card spot as they now have their final game against the Dodgers this season. That first pitch will be at 7:10 today. And the Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow did not see any action in the preseason. He suffered a calf injury, if you recall, but he is back on the field in full pads, practicing with the team for the first time since he got carted off the field back in July. Again, the Bengals open up their season against the Browns on September the 10th. And college football says there will be no format changes for their playoff situation until the dust settles on realignment. There's a lot of concern about whether or not the Pac-12 will go ahead and continue after the going into the 2024 season, but college football mentioned that the main conference they're looking at is the ACC, with the many different discussions about realignment and inclusion in that conference as well. So no updates on what college football playoff situation will look like up until that point. That's your 2020 sports update, but tune in tomorrow here on DK on the Sports Tip. We'll have more for you here on Wildcats Radio 1290.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
All right, we're joined in studio by David Adams, U of A football class of 1986, running back out of Sunnyside High School. And I just read this, David. The first child born at the new hospital at Davis-Monthan Air Force Base. That's true. Was your parents military?
Father.
Yeah. Did you ever have any desire to do that? No.
They got divorced when I was a baby, so I wasn't military-ish.
Okay.
But I wanted to play sports.
There you go. And you got to the National Football League. Tell me about that lone touchdown.
It was nice because I tell you the funny thing about it was I finally made a touchdown in the NFL, and I said, I've been holding this in for 30 years, it seemed like. I've never spiked the ball because you can't spike it in high school. You can't spike it in college. So I scored this touchdown, and I said, I'm going to break this damn ball. So when I jumped up in the air to spike it, the damn ball slipped out of my hands. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. But I had to play it off like that's what I meant to do. And then I just jumped around with the guys. And I've never been a big celebration guy because for me, touchdowns is like going home. You're finally home, and you're just, oh, I made it home. Cool. It's not like, oh, man, I'm home. I'm so happy. Yeah, this is the greatest thing ever. Oh, I'm going to smell the food. No, that's where it's supposed to be. So I never really got excited over touchdowns unless there was a lot of trash talking going on. Then I could get a couple words in of something of significance. But that was the thing. It was really interesting because I had lined up on the wrong side, and a lot of things that broke down on the play. And like I told you, if you're worried about my blocking and all this other stuff, just give me the ball, and we can make something happen. And it came together.
Interestingly enough, so obviously both Tony Dorsett and Herschel Walker were on this team?
Yeah.
So why didn't they play that day?
Because TD played, Tony played, Herschel didn't.
Oh.
And I played because I'm the man. No, actually, I'm going to be honest with you. I played because that particular play I executed better than
okay.
It was a draw play that I executed better than everybody else. But TD, he was one of the most phenomenal running backs I've ever seen. I've never, ever, ever seen anybody faster than him. And I don't get impressed with my competition because if I'm the man, I can't be excited about the backup, correct? So when I would see him in practice do things, I'm like, yeah. And so I asked him, I said, TD, what's the fastest 40 you've ever ran? He says, if I told you, you wouldn't believe me. I said, just tell me anyway. And he said, well, the fastest 40 I've ever ran was a 3.9. And I looked at him.
3.9?
That's what he said. I looked at him and I said, okay. And I didn't say, oh, man, because when he got to Denver, he ran a 4.3 in pads. So to run at 18, 19, 20, a 3.9, you're just super world class. You're not just world class. And I believe him.
I mean, there were some Hall of Famers, obviously, Tony Dorsett, Randy White was on that team defensively. Yeah, too tall. I mean, there's some major legends.
And a lot of trash talking from sun up to sundown. It was really fun because I did a lot of the practice roster stuff. And, you know, these legends, they want you to be intimidated. And I'm like, hey, man, I'm the man just like you. Let's do this. And me and Randy White had a little thing going because I wasn't intimidated. So he was like, if the last thing I do, I'm going to break your damn neck. And I said, my neck is too strong to break. And he talked trash and I talked trash. And it was an interesting relationship.
David Adams joining us, U of A football class of 1986. I'm going to ask you the question of the day, David. Jaden Delore last year threw for 3,600 yards. Only one quarterback at this school has thrown for more than 4,000. Will he be the second player in Arizona Wildcats football history to throw for over 4,000 yards in a single season?
He should be because everything is geared to throwing the ball. I mean, back in the day when you were throwing for 4,000 yards, you run 60 plays, 40 of them were runs. So you had to throw deep and make a lot of things happen. But now the game is so pass-oriented, it would be a shame if he didn't.
Now, here's a question for you, David, because you're a guy that likes to get into the end zone. You were the guy that wanted to be, no, I want touchdowns.
Right.
I want touchdowns. We're talking about him getting the 4,000-yard mark. I said his target should be to be the first U of A quarterback to ever throw for 30 touchdowns in a season since we've had 3 quarterbacks throw for 28. Would you rather have the yards or would you rather have the touchdown record?
Well, easy the touchdown record because you can throw for 9,000 yards and no damn touchdowns, so you went 0-11. I don't help you. I threw for 9,000 yards. Well, how many touchdowns? 3. In 11 games, you threw 3 touchdowns? Yeah, so always the touchdowns. Even, the 1-yarders, the 2-yarders, that's still 6 points. Whether you ran 90 yards or you ran 2 yards, it's still 6 points. And that would be a goal that I would shoot for more so than the 4,000 yards.
When you watch a game, David, how do you watch it? I mean, what are the things you're looking for? Do you just sit back and kind of watch it? Are there things you focus on? How do you watch a football game?
Did the back do what he was supposed to do? Did he pick up the blitz? Did he make a good fake? Did he read the hole right? I watch what the running back does, and then I watch what the ball does. I think it's just kind of natural for me to do that, because I want to see what the backs are doing and what would I have done if I was in that situation? Okay, I would have done this, I would have done that, or whatever it may be. But I watch the backs first. Of course, I read the defense and see what kind of defense they're in, and then I say, okay, well, the back should do this, should do that, and then see if I'm right.
Indeed. David Adams, he is the longtime running back for the Arizona Wildcats, class of 1986, joining us here. Grew up in this community, went to Sunnyside High School, and then on to the U of A, and wore number 2. What was special about that number for you?
Oh, that's an easy question. My mother's birthday is June 2nd, so that was why it was number 2.
Wow.
Yeah.
June 2nd.
Yeah, it was we had an extremely close bond, especially because not only did she not understand football, she didn't want me to play. So she didn't understand why do they keep jumping on you and you're already laying on the ground. I said, Mom, I don't know. Just when I pass that last line, get up and cheer. That's all you need to do. That was how I explained it.
Did she come watch you play a lot in college, though?
No.
No.
She moved to California with the rest of my family when I started college. But fortunately, in 84, 5, and 6, we got on TV quite a bit. And then when we would play Stanford or in Cal, because they were in the Bay Area, she would come and see me play. But it was my grandmother that really hated me playing. She just didn't stand. I mean, I could play in her house, and she wouldn't come and watch me play. So she'd just be like, no.
You'd be in the dining room playing, and she didn't want no part of it.
This is too much, because I don't understand why they just hit you like this. Are they mad at you? And I said, no, they're just doing their job.
Are we going to see the first back-to-back Heisman Trophy winner since Archie Griffin 49 years ago, you think?
You know, they say that every time an underclassman wins it, and it's so difficult to be outstanding twice. You can be good twice, but to be great twice is very, very difficult. And, I wish him the best. I like the fact that a running back is the only one that done it twice. They made some mistakes in the 80s on the Heisman Trophy winner because I should have got 2 of them. But because they didn't agree with me, I just went home with, the certificate.
Who were the other? You had, I think with 86, you had over 1,000 yards. You remember who the other 1,000-yard college guys were that year? We have to look that up.
I can tell you.
Oh, I'm sure you probably can.
I during the regular season, I gained the most yards in the regular season. Then UCLA was Gaston Green.
Gaston Green. Yeah.
But they ended up giving him the title because he played 10 games, I played 11. And I told him, you can't penalize me because I don't get hurt. But he had, I think I had like 112 yards a game, and he had like 114 or something like that. But I had the most yards, and I told him about it.
Sweet D, we want to have you back all season.
You can have me back anytime you want to, man. I see Chick-fil-A here, and then nothing was for me, so I'm a little concerned. I'm a Chick-fil-A type of guy, and come in here. Next time
I know that you're coming in there, I'll make sure to get
Chick-fil-A for you.
Well, the other problem is
you got to eat healthy, Dave. Man, we got to make sure you stay healthy.
All right, just no soda.
Chicken's healthy.
The chicken's very healthy. I asked him for some water. He pointed me to the fountain. I said, man, what?
I don't got anything else for you, man.
He didn't know that, coming from the South Side, there was a lot of water issues. So we drink bottled water.
Man, my dad's a Sunnyside teacher. I'm aware.
So he knows. Does he have 3 legs?
Dave, thanks so much. All right, thanks for everybody for joining us today. We'll have Dave back. This is DK on the Sports Tip.
Thank you,
I'm David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's